A new From Software game is coming in 2026, and it isn't the Duskbloods on Switch 2. This comes from mpfirst.com. It's a project called Codename FMC, and apparently it will be on multiple platforms due to the research, the insider knowledge that the people writing this up on MP First have managed to attain. So this is really curious. I want to talk about the wider stuff with From Software. That multiplayer push that they've had, like the stuff with Night Rain and then Duskbloods. Duskbloods is exclusive to Switch 2, so I'm curious to see how that thing's going to land anyway, given like the Switch demographic and the general audience and everything coming out of something like Elden Ring. But what do you think about what they'll do next? Like, do you just do another Souls style game, or do you do something else that's multiplayer style?
I think, God, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? For me personally, as a huge From Software fan, the multiplayer stuff, I cannot describe how, not disappointed, I suppose, because exactly it's not even for me, but when Duskbloods was announced and we saw it as a Switch 2 game, I thought, that's the game. That's the game. That's the reason I want to buy a Switch 2, right? That is the thing that's going to get me in. It looked beautiful. It looked obviously very much in the Souls or Bloodborne vein, but I just thought it looked absolutely fantastic. Then you throw in like the new mechanics that were hinted at, like a jetpack to traverse in new and interesting ways. I was all in, and then the subsequent announcement that it was multiplayer just made me say, that's sadly not for me, in the same way that Elden Ring Night Rain this year kind of wasn't for me.
Want to stay safe online and save big? Well, you can. Right now, you can get up to 76% off a 2-year NordVPN plan, plus 4 months free, and up to a $50 Amazon gift card. And all you've got to do is click the link in the description below, or on this QR code that should be right down here in this video, to get signed up with this great deal right now.
I like that they're able to experiment like this, especially when you get a spin-off like Night Rain that takes the established mechanics and the established map and like twists things up, because we're not exactly starving for single-player stuff from Software. Like, we're really well fed in that regard. But it does raise an interesting question that you mentioned there of what do they do going forward? Do they keep these two strands separate? Do they have multiplayer games and single-player games, or do they try to meld the two into whatever the next thing is going to be? Like, if it's Elden Ring 2, does it have the regular single-player campaign that we expect and then a Night Rain-esque mode attached to it, or do they continue to keep them separate?
I like, just going off general, conversations online, the reception to Night Rain, I feel like that thing came and went within like a week. Like, I just feel like, I don't think people want multiplayer stuff from this studio. And it's interesting looking at the potential business reasons why, although it's not like Night Rain, as far as I know, is loaded with recurrent spending stuff. It's not like they're doing this as a way to bolster the bottom line. It seems more just like an experiment, or it's like, we've got this game engine, we've got all these animations, we might as well do something else with them, and then obviously add some new stuff as well. And then Duskbloods, I had the exact same reaction you did, where it's like, finally the next Bloodborne type thing, and then, oh god, it's multiplayer and it looks a bit goofy and it doesn't really seem like it fits their tone. And I wonder whether that's just them trying to reach into like a younger demographic, or just trying to reach a wider audience, and then they do something that unifies everybody in whatever this Codename FMC thing is. But yeah, I think they're interesting experiments, but I don't feel like Night Rain, I don't imagine they're taking that much away from that, going like, hey, that's what we should be doing. Like, you should be doing where you left off. Like, I
wonder how much of it is
Sekiros and everything.
Yeah, I wonder how much of it is just that like experimental era that they're in. They had an absolutely unprecedented success with Elden Ring after years and years of building this fan base and gaining the respect of players and what have you. We obviously got Shadow of the Erdtree, the big expansion for that game a couple of years later. That was just as good, in my opinion. Absolutely love that. People seem to react to it very positively. But in between them, we have had those multiplayer Soul-style games. We had the return to Armored Core. So we've had like a lot of like different things, and it is kind of in From Software's own nature to not just do sequels for the sake of it. Obviously, you had Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, but like those were an exception. It initially went to another kind of team within From Software that wasn't directed by Miyazaki for Dark Souls 2, while he moved on to a new IP. So they're like, thing as a company seems to be, or has been in the past, new IP, and I wonder if that is changing because of the massive success of Elden Ring. We got Shadow of the Erdtree, we got Night Rain. Does the next thing have to be Elden Ring 2, or can it be a spiritual successor in the same way that Bloodborne was and Sekiro was, like you mentioned? I love a Sekiro 2, by the way.
Same.
If it's Sekiro 2, Oh my god, that's getting pre-ordered day one.
I'm curious as well about how much they reuse the game engines. I think they've had the same game engine for the better part of a decade. Like that's how they're able to turn stuff around so fast. And obviously they do put so much, there are so many new assets, new characters, writing, story, whatever, to make things feel fresh. And that obviously contributes to their signature feel. I always compare it to like the original Rockstar run where they had that engine that was used for GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas. Like there's nothing wrong with reusing engines, overall. But I do wonder if they wanted to branch out and do something completely different, then how much are they sort of bolstered? Are they attached to this old engine? It's already in full development apparently, so it's like assumedly it's another game in the Elden Ring engine, in that style of engine. Because would they do something else like a first-person shooter? Like it's when Remedy did what the hell was that, Full Break or whatever that game was called that no one really played?
Break, maybe?
No, the most recent one, the first-person shooter, FBC Firebreak.
Yeah, FBC Firebreak.
That one. When they put that out, I don't feel like anyone was expecting a first-person shooter from Remedy, and obviously it hasn't done very well, but it is very inventive and has a lot of cool ideas. Does someone like a FromSoft go like, hey, we've done Souls games for since 2009, do we break away and do something else entirely? Because even Armored Core, it still has a lot of the Soulsian DNA in terms of the way that you lock on and play and whatever, which I know is potentially blasphemous to the Armored Core fans, but still, there's a through line there. It's not a first-person shooter. So I wonder if they would like to eventually break away from this stuff, or whether the amount of money they're making means that it's just safer and makes more sense to just do the things that are in the vein that you've just been doing so far.
I think it'll be a bit of both. I think we will continue in the vein of the gameplay loops and stuff that are already established. There's clearly a desire for that, and it has resonated with people. And I think From Software has been really good at innovating on that original formula. Like if you look at Demon Souls compared to Elden Ring or Sekiro maybe before then, you can see those through lines that you mentioned, but they're very different games. They are innovating every single time they put one of these things out. So for me, I'm more interested in not even... I'd like to see them do something completely different if they want, but I'm more interested in what other innovations they're able to bring to this Souls-like genre now that is, hugely established and has so many imitators, some of which are coming very, very close to matching From Software. Lies of P launched a few years ago, and that was like incredible. Like if you played that game, you might even be convinced that it was From Software developing it, right? Like the barrier of quality for those Souls-likes is, raising each year, and obviously Elden Ring kind of really blew that formula up by going open world and really kind of reinvigorating the entire open world genre. And I'm like, what can they even do next to continue to blow that idea out? Like for me, it would be in more kind of control over the world itself, and what I mean by that is a more interactive world and playing with the physics of the world more directly. Now we get like, and this isn't a bad thing by the way, the games have used this to great effect, but you have to, like, I don't know, say for instance, pull a lever to get a bridge down. Right. I personally think it would be very cool to make that bridge kind of more interactive, and you could cut down the ropes or something to completely change the geography, like use it in a more immersive way, I suppose. They might have no interest in doing that, but that's all I can think of off the top of my head about how they can make the open world that they've made, that they've established, and the systems that they've established kind of just feel a little bit different to what they've done with Elden Ring and Shadow of the Erdtree. Like, what other mechanics can you put in there without making it just far too cumbersome and overstuffed? Yeah,
and you could do stuff with more like the class variety, like the different classes that you're picking give you different exploration options, different traversal options. Like, yeah, man, because my thing is, as I've said like plenty times, like I'm done with Souls stuff. Like Wu Chang Fallen Feathers is coming out soon, and like I was looking at the gameplay for that, going like they all look the same to me now, and I don't know how much I'm indicative of the average consumer, the average gamer. I have no idea. Souls games continue to sell incredibly well. Like obviously there's the FromSoft shine to it as well. Like FromSoft stuff completely flies. Elden Ring outsold Call of Duty, which is like a massive deal. But like you consume way more of them than I do. Like, are you still like, give me more, I'll take it, let's keep going, or do you feel like you want a break from them at all?
It's tough. It's really, really tough because, yes, I understand. I am similar to everyone else who is a little bit oversaturated with the genre. Every time there is a new presentation and I see 5 Souls games there that do admittedly all look very similar and all play very similar, I think I wish this was used to highlight other games that are more diverse with their genre and whatnot. But, I'm still really enjoying the Souls-like games, Scott Tilford. I still think they are continuing to improve. Like I mentioned, the quality of them seems to be getting higher, and when a good one comes along, like I don't feel that thing of, oh, I'm kind of over this gameplay loop. I do think it continues to be engaging, and I do think it has established itself as a genre now. It's not just like they're not just imitators, you know what I mean? It's kind of like when they were called, what were they called back in the day? Sort of Doom clones, for first-person shooters. And that just transformed into, oh no, this loop is so good, this style of game is so good that it is its own genre, and you can repeat it and change it in so many different ways. I do genuinely think the Souls genre is that now, rather than just a very specific game type. And because of that, I don't think they'll be going away anytime soon. But I can understand people saying, like, well, what does this game have that the others don't? Like, why do I need to play Wu Chang Fallen Feathers over any other number of Souls-like games coming out at the end of this year? And I do think that FromSoft has a little more tank in the gas because of the name recognition and because of that trust and because they are still the best at it. But at a certain point, do they need to innovate and completely change? I don't know.
Yeah. My thing is, I want different ways to interact with the enemies. Like the trailer for Phantom Blade Zero, where the dude's like taking on like 3 guys at once. I'm like, that looks cool, even though it is still a Souls game. But I want more like environmental interaction, like you mentioned. But in terms of combat, like at some point, I just want it to be a more stylish, over the top action game. But it's not at all what they will do. But I want to kick off parts of the environment. I want to jump. I want to do aerials. Like, we'll see how it comes together. But there's still something else coming. Yeah,
I think that's why it's a shame that we never got a sequel to Sekiro, because that was kind of satisfying that part of it. Like the combat in that game is so fast paced. You've got that jump button. You've got aerial takedowns. You could double down on that and make it even more acrobatic in a sequel, but I don't know what the hell's going on with that. I don't know if From Software just don't want to make a sequel, whether it's tied up with Activision because Activision published that game, but I feel like it's a bit of a shame, even though Elden Ring is one of my favorite games of all time, that we didn't see the acrobatic combat of Sekiro get implemented or pushed a little bit further than it was in that one title, and it makes me cherish that game a little bit more for being a bit of a miracle and a bit of something different from the
when
other
you
games.
Think back on the last 10 years of FromSoft games, that one, like that and Armored Core 6 are obviously the two that stand out, like obviously because of franchise stuff, but in terms of mechanics, like Sekiro was the one where you really had to reset everything that you thought you knew about Souls games or FromSoft games, and it was awesome for that.